Hello everyone, welcome along to our Borussia Dortmund career mode here on FIFA 22. My name's Ash, you'll know me as Ep.10, and this is episode 10 of our realistic career mode series. So for those of you who are continuing with the series after the last episode, welcome back, thanks for joining. If you're coming into this episode for the first time, then make sure to go and watch all the other episodes before you come on to this one. In this video today, what we're going to have is basically a bit of an end of season special, I guess, where we're really going to be, there's not going to be any games, it's going to be a lot of rambling. We're going to look back on the season. I'm going to talk about the likes of training, transfers. We're going to do some of the transfer window as well, so you guys might be interested in that. We're going to make some signings, make some sales, want to talk about development of the youth players, plans for the next season, all that good stuff. There's so much I want to get off my chest, so this is one really looking forward to. A quick notice before we get into it. For any of you who haven't seen it yet, I recently announced the launch of my Patreon, where you can go and support me on there. Lots of incredible rewards, including the likes of behind the scenes videos, access to my Discord server, access to my FIFA 22 tactics packages, where we get in-depth ratings, reviews, overall thoughts, pros and cons of all of the tactics that we cover here on the channel. Loads more stuff on top of that as well. Please do go and check it out. Great way to support the channel if you can afford it, and I will be extremely grateful. So let's talk about our saves. So first things first, quick review on the season as a whole. We did of course finish third in the end. At one point we wasn't beaten up until December, and then lost a couple to Wolfsburg, to Bayern Munich. So that was obviously disappointing. Just sort of fell away, you know, in that sort of, I guess, Feb to March area. And, you know, that really cost us. We struggled to really compete with those two teams above us. We did beat Bayern once, but lost to them the other time. So that was really where, you know, we did struggle. And that's what's really cost us overall. With the DFB Pokal, you'll have seen it in the last episode. 0-0 in the end, but lost 4-3 on penalties. Absolutely gutting. So, you know, it was just so unfortunate. You know, and the same we can go into the Super Cup as well. We also lost to that, to Bayern Munich. So again, runners up in that competition. And then with the Champions League, we eventually lost in the semi-final over 2 legs to Villarreal, who did lose in the final to Atletico Madrid. So we came so close on all areas, but just couldn't quite get over the line. And that was so disappointing. So next season, I think we can really take that into account, just improve, the team will improve, and hopefully we can just go one step better across all areas. Wanted to show you a look into the individual player stats. Haaland finishing joint top scorer with Andre Silva, but he would actually get the award because he only played 27 matches, whereas Silva played 33, both of them on 22 goals. So a great season for him, as it was also for Donyell Malen, who got 16 goals in 22 matches. A fantastic record. We'll also talk about him in the Champions League very, very shortly. As for the assists, Marcus Thuram, who we have had our eye on, finishes top of the league in assists with only 9, and then a plethora of our players. You've got Guerrero there with 8, you've got Hazard there with 7, Haaland, Reina, all of them on 7, and then Bellingham on 6. A lot of players up there for the assist mark, so that was really, really positive. In terms of clean sheets, we finished second in the end, 12 clean sheets, just one behind Castells at Wolfsburg. And then onto the Champions League, if we can get onto it. With top scorers, Donyell Malen actually finished top scorer on 9, and he was 3 clear of the players next, the likes of Ronaldo, Aguero, Suarez, all on 6. So he had a fantastic campaign in the Champions League. Extremely positive for him. In terms of the stats at the club, Gregor Kobel was the only player to appear in every single game, play every single minute. Had a fantastic campaign. We talked about how we were looking for a keeper, maybe a high upside young goalkeeper. Don't think we will be now because he has been absolutely immense. He's certainly a mainstay, so really pleased with that. Haaland getting 30 goals overall in 41. Malen not far off, 28 in 35. Some great performances there. We got a few in double figures of assists as well. Marco Reus, Guerrero, Reina, Thorgan Hazard as well. So that was really positive. Good to see those sort of attack midfielders, the wing backs as well, getting into that. I'd imagine Max Aarons isn't that far behind. If we have a look here, he was on 5, but of course only appeared in 17 games. He had a really good season after we signed him in January, so I can't wait to see how his development advances in the second season. Having a look at the development of players, how we've improved, we have of course targeted that as a realistic Dortmund career mode. We know that they want to improve, develop players, coach them up, and we've seen that in action just a bunch. Really pleased because you've got the likes of Cobble, who's got up 4 ratings. I can really go through the side here, just have a quick look. Namdi Collins increased by 6 overall, still only 66, but he did of course start at a 60. I expect that to just improve, get better throughout the second season. You got the likes of Belakar Chap, who's got up to a 75, from 72. Koulibaly going up as well. There's a whole range of improvements there. A couple were changed from the position changes, such as Guerrero. He went at 4 after I switched him from left back to left midfield. It has inflated his value, unfortunately, but we're not actually looking to sell him. Bellingham increasing. Haaland was another one. Reina gone up 5 ratings. That's really good. And then Haaland going at 4 as well, just an absolute beast. 92 overall now with 99 sprint speed. There's just no stopping him, is there? So he's an absolute machine. And Marlon increasing by 3 as well. So it's been really positive in terms of the development, and I'm very excited for the next season. I also want to talk to you guys about contracts. As you can see, these 4 have their contracts expiring. We won't be renewing any. The end of an era for Marcel Schmelzer, but I think it is time to really pack the gloves up there. Marin Pongrancic just didn't play at all. He was on loan from Wolfsburg. You know, didn't really need him. So, you know, his loan will be going as well. Ahead to next season, as you can see here, we've got a few players who will have only a year remaining, and we're really looking to tie this down. So Namdi Collins, we're going to extend his deal, absolutely. The same with Dahoud as well, who really came into his own, you know, in the second half of the season when we put him into that deep-lying playmaker role. We've also got a couple of others. Rafael Guerrero, we'll look to tie him down, as you can see by his value that I just spoke about, 92 million now. That's, you know, unfortunately an issue with the game. Marco Reus as well, probably going to look to extend him, probably only a 1-year extension though, because he'll be 34 by the end of the time this contract runs out. So, you know, we'll keep an eye on that. That's not going to one I'm going to be jumping on, because he has had a bit of an inconsistent season as well. I wasn't overly impressed. We've got other players really knocking on the door now. Elsewhere, Ansgar Nauf, we're going to list him for loan. So we'll see how his development goes before we try to extend him. Felix Paslak has been transfer listed, and we have actually had an offer for him from Watford, which we have accepted. I'll talk about that a bit later. So he'll be going. And Roman Berkey, we'll keep him around for the extra year, but, you know, I can't really picture him being here around, you know, further than that year. So in terms of outgoings, we talked about Paslak. He's been approached by Watford. That's currently ongoing. We've loan listed Ansgar Nauf as well, looking to really get him some development. Tigges has also been transfer listed. He's just, you know, not got a place here, unfortunately, so we'll look to move him on. Elsewhere, not really looking to shift out too many guys. You know, I think we've got a good core of the squad available now. It will be a very small squad, because when you look at it, we'll have transfer listed a couple who will have gone. These 4 or these 5 will have left. And then you might have Nauf out on loan, Paslak gone, Tigges gone. So it's going to be a really small squad, which means that we are going to have to, of course, go out in transfer window and make a couple of signings. So let's talk about that then. Well, a few I have my eye on. One is Karim Adeyemi. Now, unfortunately, I can't buy him because he just says this player is not for sale as a team don't have enough depth, which is absolutely ridiculous. How can you just not make an offer for a player? You know, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Every player's got a price, and I'll be willing to pay it. So that's really disappointing. We'll keep an eye on that one because he's one I really want to sign. Elsewhere, the Ketelaere is another one who I'm looking at, but he's a lot of money. I'm hoping that value will come down depending on his contract. Really got an eye on him. So that's really it for the 4 positions. Marcus Thuram is another one. Again, I've got my eye on, but not going to pay that sort of money. So hopefully, I've got a feeling his contract might expire next season, so that might bring his value down. I'm not entirely sure though. We've got our eye on a couple of others as well, such as Thales Magno, keeping our eye on him. I think that could be a really good signing, only a 5.5 million release clause as well. So I like that one. Scouting a couple of others like Anthony, etc., but, don't really know about that. Defensively, a couple more sort of pieces of movement, really. Mukiele is one I would like to bring in. We also had a lot of suggestions for Lacroix from Wolfsburg, but obviously they've won the league in this series, so I don't think it'd be very realistic after they've won the league to start poaching all their players, because I really did have an eye on a couple of them. We were looking at Mbabu as well, and a couple of other players, but with them winning the league, I don't think that would happen. So we've actually decided to leave that one. Mukiele is one that I've got my eye on. RB Leipzig in general I've got my eye on, because they've actually finished outside of the Champions League places, so I think a couple of their players would be looking to jump ship to a team that is in the Champions League, such as us. So he's one I've got my eye on. Again, don't want to pay that value for him, so I'm hoping that will decrease when we advance to the next season. I also want to talk about Borussia Dortmund too. We've got a couple of players there who we are scouting, and I think we are actually going to sign them. We're going to treat it as though we're promoting them from Dortmund too. We've got Ubenhauer here, and we've also got Bafunta as well. These guys are obviously lower rated, but very young. I've looked at their potential and it's high 70s, but obviously we have dynamic potential, so that can change that. But really what my plan is for these is to just make them part of the rotation. So Ubenhauer, for example, could be our backup goalkeeper. Maybe we can shift him in a couple of cup games or Champions League group stage games, etc. Bafunta as well, I've already shown with Collins and Koulibaly this season, I have no qualms about playing players who are lower rated if I can get them into the system. So both of these, I think we are going to look to sign and treat it as though we're promoting them up to the first team. You'll see some other names on this list as well, the likes of Gossens, Vlahovic, etc., Kamara. Some of these are just there as backup options. So say, for example, this is a contingency plan in case Haaland goes and is purchased. Then we'd probably look to bring in someone like Vlahovic as a replacement. So I've got him scouted, ready to go. Same with Gossens in case we lost someone like Guerrero. Be ready to bring him in as well. Obviously, I don't like his value too much. Hope that would drop a little bit, but it is an option. So some of these just worth bearing in mind that they're more contingency plans and us actively trying to sign them. Remember that we're not going to go through the entire transfer window in this video, so make sure you guys get your suggestions in for anyone you want me to have a look at, to scout, maybe to sign. I always take your guys' suggestions on board. Some of them are really good, and we have acted on that as well. So keep them coming in, and I will be really grateful for that. Let's have a quick look on the board objectives. Not that it matters too much. Brand exposure, we didn't complete any, but they were absolutely ridiculous. They wanted us to get 25 games without defeating home matches. That would have meant going unbeaten at home for the entire season in every competition, which is just crazy. Sign 3 players from North America. Really? That's your objective? So we didn't complete them. Reach the semi-final of the Champions League, even though that was way too ambitious. Same with winning the league title as well. They wanted us to do that. Again, obviously didn't achieve that. We reached the final and gained 200 million earnings. So hopefully we keep our job. I mean, it'd be ridiculous if they were to sack us after this, because it's not been a bad season at all. So hopefully we'll get some more realistic ones in the next season. As for our finances, 409 million in profit. We of course didn't spend a whole lot. We made a lot of money, 105 million from transfers, and only spent 29 million. Looking at it elsewhere, we tried to keep the wages low. The wage, but it didn't increase too much. So the earnings is looking very healthy. Doesn't mean we're going to go out and spend 500 million and stuff. We're keeping it normal and realistic, but it's good to know that we do have that sort of healthy financial outlook. What about the youth academy then? Well, the size has shrunk a little bit because we've had a few players complain that they wanted to be promoted and they're just not good enough, so I've ended up releasing them. A few of these looking like they're probably not going to make it either. You'll remember I spoke about in one of the previous episodes how if I promote a youth player, they have to have 94 potential and their minimum potential has to be 80 plus. We want them really defined. It also makes it more challenging to find one of those as well, because as you see, we've only had Bergman so far this season. That's one player, so it's more challenging, a little bit more realistic that we're we have to really search to bring those guys through. Keep an eye on Elijah Andrew. His potential has remained at 94 for a long time. So he could be worth one looking at. Elsewhere, though, I imagine a few of these are really going to drop off over the course of the next few months. As for the staff, well, they're on their final month of the 3-month period. Then we're going to mix up a couple of the countries again. We'll keep this one in Germany, but these two, we're going to move them around. So make sure to get your suggestions in for them as well. Always open to them. And, you know, any countries I'm thinking the likes of maybe somewhere in South America would be cool. Maybe somewhere in Africa as well. Mix it up a little bit. So really going to have a look into that. So guys, just to let you know, we are now simming the end of the season. Advancing into the second season. So ready to really get the ball rolling. Let's see what we can do in terms of you know, some of these transfers, etc. Okay guys, so lots of big news on the first day of the new season. So much to get through, it's all jumped out at me at once, so I do apologise. First things first, board have increased the transfer budget to 207 million. Obviously, we're not going to spend that much, but, you know, that is worth bearing in mind. Second thing, I've just had a message from Erling Haaland saying, "Thanks for seeing me, boss. I'm sorry to have to be telling you this, but I don't see my future here. I'm just not happy being at the club anymore." You know, I'll tell you to take your time over the decision, but ultimately, at the start of the series, I did say, look, Haaland might go, and it turns out as soon as he said that, Real Madrid met his release clause. 244 million. I promise you, I didn't set that. That was already there. I didn't even know that was his release clause, but they're willing to pay 244 million euros, so there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Obviously he's not going to sign a new contract, and so we just got to let it happen. Now, naturally, we're not going to go out and spend that 244 million on a new player, but we will try and, you know, replace him with some good talent and see what we can do in terms of spending. But that is obviously massive news. We are going to have to replace him, going to have to improve. So let's just see how this one plays out. There's a lot of thinking to be done here. I did, of course, talk about having those contingency plans. Vlahovic is one of them. Thuram is another. Obviously, if we can try and get Adeyemi, that would be great. So there's a lot we can really look at here. So it's not all hope lost. So then, guys, it turns out we can now sign Karim Adeyemi. Praise the Lord. So we are going to make an offer for him. I think that is a fantastic replacement if we can get this one through. They're saying that they'd accept an offer of 50.5. To be realistic, I think we should go a little bit higher than that. I'm thinking a team like Red Bull Salzburg, I think they'd want maybe early 20s, somewhere around that mark. In fact, I'm going to have a quick look at what they sold Haaland for. So according to Transfermarkt, they signed Haaland for 18 million from Salzburg. Bit surprised, thought it'd be a little bit more than that. So what we're going to do, just for a little bit of inflation, I'm going to offer 20 million, and I think that is a reasonable amount to purchase. Don't forget, we're bringing in someone homegrown as well, obviously German nationality, so that's going to be big as well. I think he used to play for Bayern Munich, actually, in their academy. So let's offer 20 million. That should go through without a hitch. In fact, we'll also add a sell-on clause as well, because that's going to be something they're going to put forward as part of a young player. We're going to we'll put it at 15%. You know, I think that's fair, and you know, that should go through without a hitch. So let's come on to the player negotiations then. We're going to put him as rotation. He's happy with prospects. We'll be a little bit fairer than that. You know, he's going to be in and out. We'd like it to be a 5-year deal as well, and he will accept that because it is, of course, on 4. Now, release clause. Yes, we want to put a release clause in. Not for that cheap, though. That's very, very small. I was thinking more something within the 40s. He's probably not going to accept this because they usually kick off about it. 23.7 million. So I can either do two things here. I can just deny the release clause, and then let's say if we were to get an offer within the 40s mark, then I can accept it. Or I can just accept the 23 million and hope for the best. You know, really, I'm in an R about this. I think we deny the release clause, but you guys can hold me to it. If we do get an offer within the 40s for him, then we will sell him, unless we agree to a new contract before then. So I'm going to click deny release clause, and they should be okay with that. And then with the wage, we are, of course, going to bump his wages up a little bit. He's currently on 19.5. So let's, look at this, I think somewhere within the 30 to 40 realm, he'd of course want a signing bonus as well. So we're giving something around about 400,000 euros, because I think that's the sort of level you're looking at in these sort of deals. Now, there should be no problem with this whatsoever. I think he'll accept that fine, because it is a bit overvalued. But in real life, I think that's a fairly acceptable offer. So that means we've got him through the door. That is a brilliant signing. I cannot wait to get used to him. We'll have a quick look at his stats as well, if we can find them. So here are his attributes. Obviously extremely quick and agile, but also jumping 88. That's going to be absolutely invaluable. His heading accuracy will need a boost. He's still a bit raw in terms of the technical elements, finishing only 75, but he will get there with development. So that's one I'm really excited for. Left-footed, 4-star skill moves, only 3-star weak foot. We'll try and boost that if we can, as well as his attacking work rate. That's currently on medium, but we'd like to boost that to high. But that is still very, very good. His dribbling in particular, clearly something that we can utilise. So I'm just so pleased with that. So pleased to get that sort of replacement into Haaland. I think that is absolutely just perfect, really. Can't complain at all. Now, there is still an issue, because we spoke about earlier in the series how I actually wanted to get strikers in regardless of if Haaland was sold or not, and Marlon, because we've only got 2 at the club, and it proved to be a big problem for rotation. Plus, if we did get an injury, that was going to prove to be an issue as well. So that does still leave us in the same position we were in anyway, where we need at least 1, maybe 2 strikers. So that's something we're going to look at. Obviously, I've just spoken about Vlahovic earlier. I'm going to actually leave that one, and I'm going to put it to you guys in the comments. I want you to let me know what you think in terms of the Vlahovic signing. Should we try and make that one happen? Of course, with the Haaland money coming in now, we feel a bit more comfortable paying 38 million for him. If not, get at me, give me suggestions, open to them, absolutely. The other one I'm looking at, Marcus Thuram, a similar sort of price. I really like him. I really like him. His attributes are so good as well. He's 6'4", like 83 pace, 87 strength, 82 finishing, 82 heading accuracy. This guy could be an all-rounded striker. He could be absolutely perfect. I do really like that signing, but I don't know what you guys think. It would be a lot of money, 40 million plus. But then again, we do have that Haaland money. So please, get out in the comment section. I'm going to leave it on these 2. Hopefully they don't get signed by someone else, and we can potentially get one of them in. If not, give me your suggestions. Let me know who you want to see. Another player I was looking at was Ousmane Dembele, because I'm pretty sure in real life his contract expires. So I thought maybe we could loan him in with an option to bring him in permanently. But it turns out he apparently holds a grudge against the club and isn't willing to negotiate a transfer. So that soon threw that one out the window. A bit surprised about that. Another one I'm looking at is Samuel Umtiti as well. He is, of course, out the frame at Barcelona. They're trying to get rid of him. They've been trying to get rid of him for some time. I spoke about, obviously, generally we want to sign young players, developmental. But I'm big for signing a couple of experienced players. Now, we've got Hummels, we've got Royce. But other than that, a lot of our players very young. I do like 1 or 2 more experienced figureheads, so that is an option as well. I'd like you guys to let me know what you think. It's a bit of money. I don't know if we could sign him on loan with an option to buy. I think his contract's going to run out as well, and so that will generally decrease, but he's one we got our eye on as well. So let me know what you think on that. A couple of other players from the big Spanish scenes as well. Really, we were looking back at sort of Dortmund's sort of track record, and they do have a history of doing that. Obviously, the likes of Hakimi they signed, Mark Bartra, signed loan options to buy. Mori was another one. You know, they do go to those teams and sign players who are on the sort of the fringes, can't quite break through. Vague is another one we're looking at, sort of that rotational right wing back option with Max Aarons, Luka Jovic as well, of course, experience of the Bundesliga, can't quite cut it at the getting to the Madrid first team. He's another one we want to look at as well. Is a good option, and so again, get your thoughts in on that. In terms of Mukiele, really want to sign him, but his value's gone up. It's gone up to 43.5 million. It was like 37 million a minute ago. But I really want him, so that's disappointing because he's very good. We're going to keep an eye on that one as well. Hopefully we can get him in and his value does decrease. So just to realise, guys, obviously we've got Bergman at the club, so we don't need 2 strikers. We probably only need 1. and that will leave us with 4. So that's absolutely perfect, actually. I'm starting to think now maybe De Ketelaere is the best option because he gives us the option to either have a cam or a striker. He's very versatile. He can play in all these systems, very all-rounded, 6'4", high work rate. He can play in a whole range of different positions. He could be the answer. If not, though, obviously I'm still really attracted to Marcus Thuram, so that's another option as well. But it does just leave us with less options. It also means that we're probably not as much need to sign someone like Thales Magno if we don't have to, because we'll be a bit overloaded in that sort of attacking midfield position. But it does sort of make our job a little bit easier. So guys, I've decided we are going to round it off there. We've simmed a pre-season game. Haaland still hasn't left yet. I think they're still in negotiations. So we're going to see how that one plays out. Dragging on a little bit, but I'm sure he will end up going. So it's nicely poised. Make sure to get me in the comments section to talk about all the things I've asked for in terms of, you know, player suggestions. Do we go for Thuram, De Ketelaere, Vlahovic, anyone else from TT, etc.? You know, be sure to give me any advice and I'll take it all on board. If you haven't done so already, please do leave a like on the video. Also check out my Patreon, as we spoke about. Link to that's in the description, as well as the link to my Twitter. Go and follow me on that. My second channel with Football Manager 2022 videos, and also affiliate links to all of my gear as well. On that note, we're going to finish it there. Make sure to ring the bell if you haven't done so already. And until next time, I will see you soon.